Ladies and gentlemen, this is Gail Morgan welcoming you to the Libertarian Counterpoint's Knuckleheads of Liberty podcast. You've heard their point, now listen to the counterpoint.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Knuckleheads of Liberty. We are coming at you on July 28, 2021. And as always with the Biden administration, there's plenty to talk about. But before we get into any of that, let me introduce you to our panel. In our upper left-hand corner, we have our Screaming Eagle of Freedom, Tim Ever. He is a pilot in the state of California. In our upper right-hand corner, we have Leon the Word Brathwaite, last word in Liberty. He is a retired engineer in the state of California. And my name is Jason McPhee, and I'll be your host today. So jumping into this show, it's mostly going to be about COVID and all of the crazy uncertainty that keeps popping up around that topic. So recently, Rand Paul was grilling Dr. Fauci in the Senate during, I guess, his testimony. And apparently, we're all very familiar with Fauci's flexibility with the truth. So apparently that's kind of annoying Rand Paul. And so Rand Paul is now, he's referring criminal charges against Fauci for lying to Congress. And essentially it all comes down to the issue of whether or not the NIH funded gain-of-function research, when he had previously testified that the NIH had never funded this. Maybe it was Rand Paul laying a trap for him or something and knowing a little more about it. But then it turns out that Fauci and the NIH was funding some research that was going on in that Wuhan lab that John Stewart was talking about before. And it says, hey, we got the exact, research going on that happened there. But no, it was a bat that happened out in the wet market. It appears that, a very strange coincidence that all this is located right around that lab. And of course, the NIH was funding some research, and as Rand Paul showed by their definition, it was gain-of-function research. And so the question is did Fauci lie about it, or was he just saying that it wasn't research related to cause, a disease that would intentionally make this disease more viral, or not, or if he was trying to say, well, it was just other gain-of-function research that had nothing to do with this, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, it sounds pretty hokey, but and we have a visual for this one. I don't know. Yeah, so here it is. He certainly looks animated. That's his response to Rand Paul when Rand Paul was accusing him. So anyways, what do you guys think about this? Is Fauci on his way to jail, or is he? Is this just another in a long line of stretching the truth for Fauci?
Wow. Yeah, he's going to go to jail like James Clapper went to jail.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it seems like we're in one of those situations where now everything is criminalized, and certainly, people in the Trump administration were targeted and thrown in jail right and left for this. Mostly right, I guess.
Mostly right.
Yeah, but Biden is controlling, the Justice Department, and so, I don't know. They recently pulled their investigation on these deaths related to COVID in New York and I think Michigan. I believe Biden recently pulled the plug on those investigations that had started in the Trump administration. So, I don't think there's much chance that Biden is going to throw out the hero of the left on this, but I don't know. You guys have any further thoughts on this one?
No, this thing stinks to high heavens. Okay, it really does. Okay, the NIH did give money to that lab. Okay, Fauci even testified that he wasn't sure exactly what they were doing with the money, but then he came about and said, "Oh well, we didn't really fund gain-of-function." Well, maybe technically, he could probably make the case that they did not fund the gain-of-function. Maybe whatever they wrote up in the grant might have been vague enough that they could be doing the gain-of-function research without them having, say, funded the gain-of-function. If you understand the technicality I'm trying to make here, But he testified specifically that they did not approve and they did not fund the gain of function research, which technically may be true. But gain of function research was going on in that lab. And everybody know money is fungible, okay? We sent $600,000 down, 600,000 of our dollars, not Fauci's dollars, our taxpayers' dollars. So he is not going to prison. I am sure of it. He's not, okay? Because if you're a Democrat, you just get away with everything under the sun in this America these days, okay? Look at what they did to all these people working for Trump or in the Trump campaign. But what's happening to the Democrats? Right now, Hunter Biden they have his laptop. We have all kind of crap on that laptop, things that implicate the President of the United States. What is happening? Nothing. We had that Governor Cuomo. 15,000 people died because of his negligence. Oh, you want to talk about war criminals as we did previously? You want to talk about war criminals? About people slaughtering people? And Cuomo did. Okay, his mandate sent COVID positive people back into nursing home and kill about 15,000 people. What is going to happen to him? Nothing. Oh, he's still pristine. He's still the most wonderful governor, the love gov in the United States. But this is what is happening, this separation of justice that is happening. Even though technically Fauci might be right, technically, okay, he might be right that they didn't approve it, blah, 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 and all that kind of stuff and things like that. But these people were funding this research. Upon us.
Looks like you're freezing up a little, Leon. Even though you sound more coherent than Biden while you're frozen up here, you're still freezing up.
That's not saying a lot. Well, if you can hear me, I can maybe take over a little bit. I'm wondering if Cuomo is going to be a war criminal like Trump. In light of all this. But, Leon's bringing up corruption, so I'll jump on the corruption bandwagon. There are so many doctors that receive funding through Fauci that none of those people, regardless how they feel about this gain of function question, are going to say anything bad about Fauci to the public. Right. They're because they're afraid of getting their funding pulled away. And again, the idea of a Department of Justice doing anything, having anything to do with justice under the same party as this guy Fauci, who is he is the darling of the Democrats. And yeah, I mean, I can see it with my Democrat friends. They everything this guy says is just gospel, yes. Even though he changes, Old Testament to New. It's totally
on a frequent basis too.
Yeah, exactly. On a frequent basis, exactly. Yeah, more frequent than in the Bible.
Usually it takes them hundreds of years to make changes, and you can change in a matter of days.
Exactly. So, it just reeks of corruption, and I don't expect to see really anything happen. Maybe this whole gain of, you send money to the Chinese. I don't care what you call it or what it's, supposed to be used for. Once the Chinese get it, it's theirs. I mean, they're going to do whatever they want. Okay. Exactly. And it's in China. Who's going to find out? They control everything. Sure. Nothing's going to come out. It's not like you're going to have a Snowden in China that's going to, be the whistleblower. At the Wuhan lab. It just ain't happening. And so anyway.
Well, I think they're worse than whistleblowers, but they disappeared.
Oh, yeah.
But I am told, it was reported in the press that one of our intelligence services, might be the CIA, I think, I'm not sure, has a Chinese defector spilling some beans for them right now. I don't know what have been spilled, but I'm told that is ongoing.
Well, what would happen if that Chinese defector got eliminated here in the United States because he said bad things that would have sent Fauci to prison?
Wow.
What would happen with that if Fauci, God god of medicine, Fauci, made somebody disappear that was from China. Now we're talking some real future movie making material.
Well, it's funny, because the dogma keeps changing, and with Fauci, I mean, it clearly shows that he's not averse to even admitting that he's lied about stuff. With the masks, he literally came out and told everybody on the media that he first told everybody not to mask up. Then he tells them that well, the only reason I said that is because I didn't want you to use up all the masks. Therefore, so I'm just, moving the chess pieces here and telling people, how it's going to be. But, literally to have that kind of hubris. And of course, now he's in a situation where he's trying to claim he didn't lie about something. And, maybe he's starting to realize that he's in a danger zone now. He can't just lie with impunity, maybe. But with respect to masks, we're getting new directive now from the CDC on masks again. And so they had told us before that, that we were done with masking indoors, and now they're starting to say that we've got to mask indoors again, and even if you've had the vaccine, apparently. So I don't know, what do you guys think on this? Yet another reversal from the CDC on masks.
The CDC have lost all credibility. Okay, all credibility. Now look at part of their mandates now is that kids should, when they go back to school in the fall, they should be wearing masks. Now, what is the point of that? What is the science behind that? And then Joe Biden had told us, get vaccinated, and you could go back to normal. No more masks. You won't have to wear a mask. So what is the point of getting vaccinated if you still have to turn around and wear a mask? I thought once you get vaccinated, you couldn't transmit. So why do we have to wear a mask? If the vaccinations are effective, then we cannot be. Well, I mean, there are a few breakthrough cases, but they are very minimal. But we cannot be infected. So what is the point of having a mandate that says even if you are vaccinated, you must wear a mask? This is nothing but power and control of the federal government, because government wants to take away our liberties. Once they do it, they never want to give it back. It's like a crack addict with cocaine. They just will never want to give it back. They just have to hold on to it. And that's all this is about. Power.
Yeah. I don't have anything to add, really. I think that's it in a nutshell. There's so many studies that show that, the comparison between highly mask mandated California and mask compliance and low mask mandate or zero mask mandate and low compliance in Florida. And the numbers are the same. I mean, you look at the number. Yeah, it's a highly contagious disease. And what they focused on was cases instead of hospitalizations and deaths. So,
right.
So they skew the numbers in to make it look horrible. Like, oh wow, your 12-year-old son got COVID. Did he have any symptoms? No, but he got it. So okay, they'll throw him into the list. And anyway, this is there's no science behind mask wearing other than that it does nothing. That's the science. I mean, that's what it shows. And the same thing with shutting down the whole economy. Same thing.
Yes.
Does nothing. Those that shut down did no better or worse than those that didn't shut down. And so it's just well. So what is it? It's got to be the explanation that Leon had, if you ask me. It's just once they, oh my God. Oh, are we going to allow those tax-paying minions that support all our wars and all our spending and our salaries and everything, that support us? Are we going to allow them to do this, that, or the other thing? Or are we going to not? I mean, boy, that people like they're sick in the head, if you ask me. But people that just love to control people just can't get enough.
Well, I think what it is, and there's a little bit of an insight there too, but it's that if you're a planner, you've got to show people that you're doing something. And so even if they've got no solution, if they, can grab the little fake controls, little play school buttons and hit those, you can see they're doing something on that control panel. They're throwing some levers. They're doing something. Then, maybe that is enough for the, I guess, the sheep that are following these people to go along and say, oh, well, he seems to know what he's doing. There's something going on there. Because it's the libertarian position and the free market position to say, hey, look, these decisions don't always have to be done centrally. They don't always have to be a central plan. Sometimes the best, in fact, a lot of times the best solutions come from these bottom-up solutions of people figuring it out for themselves through, market interactions and people responding to those. So so I think we're just doomed as long as people keep on looking for answers to the central government on everything. They're going to get a lot of funky answers that don't have any substance to them, and we're just going to have to keep going along with them as long as that's what the majority are leading us. I don't know.
But the disgusting thing about this is that 160 million Americans have had at least one dose, if not two. 160 million. And on top of that, we have 35, maybe to 40 million people who have been exposed to COVID. So they have antibodies. So you're talking somewhere in the neighborhood of 200 million people, 200 million Americans who probably have antibodies within them. Those who got the antibodies through vaccination, like me and you, Jason, and those who have been exposed to COVID and thus have antibodies within them. So you don't want to tell me we haven't reached some level of herd immunity? These people are now telling us that, oh, we need a mask to protect us now? After 200 million of us have antibodies within us? Something is wrong here. Something stinks here. Stinks to high heavens.
Well, the crazy thing about most of these masks is that, that the mechanism of how they're protecting is really about cutting down somebody who is infected and sort of blunting their dispersal, not so much that it's protecting the guy who's wearing the mask. I mean, maybe if they have one of these fancy respirators and they use it correctly, which is a big if, they don't sit around touching their face and touching the mask constantly and all that kind of stuff. Then in that case, they may get some protection, but as far as for most people who are wearing a lot of these cloth masks and stuff, all they're doing is they're just maybe blunting a little bit their potential of spreading it. They're not really protecting themselves that much. Right. So, yeah. Anyways,
so ridiculous. Oh, by the way, before we leave this topic, I saw that Gavin Newsom is going to mandate that all state workers have to be either vaccinated or they have to be tested regularly and wear a mask and all kinds of stuff. And I know this affects you personally, Jason. So what do you think about that?
Well, I mean, I'm already vaccinated, so personally, it's not going to be a big deal. I think it's one of those things where if it's private business, then I think every business should be able to make their own decisions. Unfortunately, you put things in the commons and it's a government thing. Somebody's got to make decisions about those government things. I don't necessarily think that's the right decision, but that said, you want a big government. Somebody's got to make those big government decisions. So
but then in your case, for instance, so you show up to work and you say you are vaccinated. Is someone going to require you to prove it?
I don't know, because this runs into those HIPAA laws and other things like that. I mean, at some point, you're asking people to disclose personal medical information. So, right. I mean, that's and I think that's something that, is clearly a discontinuity, a conflict in the laws. So, I would think that those HIPAA laws would, weigh in, but I don't know. I mean, this is kind of crazy times, and they seem to be steamrolling a lot of people's rights. So, I don't know. I mean, in the federal government, this is happening too. I think Biden is, there's talk that Biden might try and push this on all federal workers as well.
I think he announced that today, to be honest, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So the federal or state worker comes into work and says, well, have you been vaccinated? No, I'm not going to tell you one way or another because it's against my HIPAA rights. And
Yes.
Okay, Mr. McPhee, step over here. We're going to ram a ramrod up your nose for about 10 seconds. As far as we can. We're going to take a little sample from you if you want to be Mr. HIPAA. And there you have it. So come on over. Now what do you say?
Yes.
I'm sure there's ways they could make it unpleasant. I don't know what those are. But speaking of which, though, there's a sort of a voluntary aspect of how they're doing this with the NFL, and it's where they can't quite force it. But what they're doing there, and it turns out the NFL teams, the Pittsburgh Steelers, I believe, they are requiring now that anybody who chooses not to vaccinate has to wear a wristband that clearly shows that they are unvaccinated. This is one of those things where I think the NFL was going to impose stringent penalties on teams if they had to cancel a game because a team had a COVID outbreak. And so this is the way some of those teams are addressing it. And I think I heard that maybe the Tampa Bay Buccaneers might be moving in that direction as well. But what do you guys think of that? Suppose your business, you came into work and they told you wear an armband to show whether or not you are vaccinated.
It was not only cancel the game. They were talking about in some cases the team may have to forfeit the game.
Yes, that's exactly it. If the game gets canceled, they're going to have to forfeit.
Which is serious business. Yeah. I mean, when you're looking at teams competing for the Super Bowl and all that. Now, the issue here is private versus public. We were just talking about Gavin Newsom, California, where he might mandate that you guys have to be vaccinated and all that kind of stuff and things like that. I don't think Newsom have any right to do, frankly. And
yep. You're freezing up again, Leon. It's almost getting to Biden incoherence. You're back. You're coherent again.
I'm back. Okay.
Unlike Biden.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I was trying to say is that this is public versus private. I don't think Gavin Newsom should have the right to tell people like Jason that he have to be vaccinated or not. But in a private organization like the NFL, I think it's different, where they could set the rules for their workers and their players as to whether they are vaccinated or not. I have no problem with the rules, and I may think some of their rules are quite stupid, but I have no problem with their right to do so. So if this is what the NFL chose, then that's what they choose. That's fine with me.
Okay, so your NFL team tells you got to get vaccinated and you don't want to. Can you have them? Can you draw up papers, since you're also a private individual that has rights yourself? Can you have them write up a statement that says you will pay my salary for the rest of my life if anything goes wrong with this vaccine, if I get repercussions that take me out of my job? How about that? Then the NFL team is on the hook. And if they die from the vaccine, then their family is paid, 50, 60, 100 million bucks, whatever the expected lifetime earnings of the player are. And they sign on to that. And so if that happens, I mean, hey, like guys say, you're so confident that what you want to do is a good thing. Let's put your money where your confidence is.
But in this case, though, I don't think that they're not actually forcing them. So it's a voluntary thing, wearing the wristband. I mean, they're forced to wear the wristband, but they're not forced to get the vaccine. So I don't think there's a liability.
Okay.
Well, but there are consequences. But I think Tim's point is there are consequences if they don't, right? If they don't, there are consequences, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, if they don't wear the wristband, so if they're not going to tell them, if they're vaccinated or not, then I suppose they'd fire them or something. So that's and I guess that gets into the HIPAA conflict again as well.
But Tim's point of view though raises some questions. I know we probably running out of time here. Raises some questions though. if for instance I am hired by a private organization and on the way to work to my job that pays me $120,000 a year, on the way to work I am killed in a car accident, is the company still liable to my family to take care of them?
No. No, they're
I
not.
don't think they are, but
No,
but your theory would suggest that they are.
No, I'm yeah, even though it's required that you drive to work to get to work, unless you live within walking distance or whatever. But
Right.
I'm just saying the company is requiring you to put something into your body, and if you have a reaction to it, a bad reaction, then maybe they should step up to the plate and guarantee your family will be taken care of.
Yeah.
That's all.
But this is a case too, with some of these things like Ultimate Fighting Championship or something like that. I mean, are they liable if you get in the ring and get smashed in the head and lose some teeth or something? I think there's at some point, once you agree to go to work to somebody voluntarily, you're taking on those risks if they demand it. So yeah, I don't know. But anyways, let's jump into our Knucklehead Noise Patrol because we're almost out of time. And I have a visual for this one, so if we could pull that up. Let's see. Oh, it's not shared yet. Darn it. So in this one, we have a situation where CNBC apparently decided to make a list of the 10 worst places to live in America. And so they listed, Texas, Arizona, Georgia, and Tennessee, Nevada, Indiana, Alabama, Missouri, Arkansas, and I think Louisiana in that list. I don't think they listed that. But anyways, that's the list, and we're showing it on the screen here. But ironically, the list of places they chose are mostly places that grew in 2020 during the pandemic. So,
yes.
More fake news. I mean, here the CNBC just says these are the worst places, and I guess because they're all red states, I'm not sure, but that was the place where people were voting with their feet. And it's funny. There's this article from Bankrate that shows where people were going, and of course, people were leaving the blue states, and they were headed to the red states. In this case, the colors are off, but they were all going to places like Texas here and Florida and Arizona, and they were leaving places like New York and California in droves. So it's just you have to think fake news. Real quick take, you guys. Just another case of fake news by the media telling them that all the red states are bad.
Yeah, go ahead, Leon.
Serious fake news. You know why? If you look at one of their criteria was this social justice crap. Okay? So that's how it became that Texas and Arizona became some of the worst states to live in the United States. God help us with these people and their damn nonsense.
Yeah. There we are. That's it. That's all I have to say too.
Well, yeah, this is, it's just, unbelievable the amount of, gaslighting we've gotten from the media, over this past 4+ years. And I guess we're just in for more of it. Anyways, it's that's about all time we have for our show today. And so thanks so much for joining us on this one. And we hope to see you at the next one. Stay free.
Indeed. Bye.